Lisa Sherman. I'm the CEO of Ellementa, and this is, well, this is kind of the virtual Los Angeles gathering for the entire world. I have here with me Mari Oxenberg, who is the LA area local leader for Ellementa. So this is her show. And I just wanted to remind everybody that there is a chat box. If you have access to that chat box, then you can type in your questions and your comments as this is live. We'll be looking at those, and when we open it up to questions, then I'll be feeding those questions to our incredible experts here. And yeah, take it away, Mari. I'm going to now mute myself and take my video screen off, but thanks everyone for being here, and let's get to it.
Hello everybody, welcome. Thank you so much for being here and joining us today. I'm just thrilled to have this experience and to be doing my very first Zoom, Facebook Live education situation, and joined with such incredible women as Patty Pappas and Carrie today. So we're going to start this conversation discussing perimenopause. And oh my goodness, when I started looking this up, I was just like, oh, what is happening? This is intense. And yet here I am at 47 and I'm like in it. And I didn't even realize I was in it. And then I'm like, wait, maybe I am in it. It can look so many different ways for so many different people, and everybody has their own experience. And there's a wonderful person called Christiane Northrup who absolutely has some fantastic information about perimenopause. And so I recommend and invite you to look up her guidance. But one of the things that was so incredible, because when you look on all of the, Dr. Google, what is perimenopause? It just comes up with like a million horrible symptoms that you're just like, holy shit, what is happening? And it's not all that. It's actually an incredible time in our lives and a time of empowerment for women. And to quote Christiane Northrup, she says, it's also the biggest opportunity for personal growth and empowerment since adolescence. And in fact, it's adolescence in reverse. And it's quite funny because she said, this is like 8th grade all over again, except for you have tools. So that was really funny.
and responsibilities.
And lots of responsibilities.
Yeah.
But it's a really important time to dive in deeply into self-care. I think that's what I've come up with most of from doing all this research was just self-care is absolutely non-negotiable at this point. And it's time to really dive in deep into yourself and into what makes you who you are, and really taking time for yourself and taking time for self-care and doing your yoga and doing your exercise and having great nutrition and really paying attention to your minerals. It's so important. Minerals are key right now, and really taking responsibility for this time in your life and for yourself. So it's quite amazing. We have all of these symptoms that, thank goodness, I'm a huge believer in nature's pharmacy. I've been an herbalist my entire life. I'm also a nurse midwife. I've been helping women have babies and involved in women's health care for the last 20 years. And one thing I know is that we have all of these life challenges and things that life throws at us, but nature's medicine and healing and remedies are right there for us as well, which is why I just adore cannabis and cannabis medicine, because it's one of the most powerful healing plants that we have and are discovering right now, and especially for women's healthcare and all of these symptoms that we can explore while we go through this perimenopausal experience. Now, what is perimenopause? It's the time that usually starts roughly around 40. It can be earlier, it can be later. 40 to around 51 is the average age, and it's a time when our hormones start to shift. And, a lot of the Google doctor stuff I found said it was when your estrogen decreases. And what was interesting to find out with Christiane Northrup's information was that it's when your progesterone actually lowers more, and that your estrogen stays stable or increases. And that cause of that imbalance and the imbalance of testosterone and other androgen hormones is what causes this fluctuation of symptoms like breast tenderness and moodiness and irritability and sleep issues. And it's a time when it's a time when there's a lot of fluidity, and there's a lot of different things happening with what your normal used to be. Your cycle length can be longer, it can be shorter, your periods are harder, stronger, you have PMS all of a sudden when you didn't, all of these things. But we have such great herbs and beautiful things to help us. And so this is a point when I would love to introduce our beautiful gals on the line today, Patty Pappas and Carrie Mapes, who have this fabulous company called Hello Again, which I absolutely love the name. And they have this formulation. They've just developed these fabulous suppositories to really help perimenopausal women with all sorts of symptoms. So I'm going to turn it over to you now, Patty, and introduce yourself and explain how you got into this and what brought you to cannabis, and take it away, darling.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Mari. Hello, everybody out there. Carrie and I are so happy to be here today. So Carrie and I were both stay-at-home moms. We've known each other for over 20 years. We've raised our kids together. And you know, I'm 54, so I've definitely gone through the gamut of all my menopausal, perimenopausal symptoms. But we went to a dispensary about 2 years ago. Our youngest kids were going off to college, so we were becoming empty nesters, and cannabis at that time was just becoming legal. So we thought it'd be fun to take a field trip down to a dispensary, and we walked into one dispensary, and it turned out to be a tour of a lot of dispensaries. But we started to quickly notice that this plant, cannabis, like you mentioned, had a great number of healing properties and they could help alleviate symptoms that we were going through at the time, and a lot of people that we knew were going through at the time, and menopausal, perimenopausal symptoms. And we looked around at all the products and all the dispensaries. There were vapes and edibles and smoking, and there wasn't really a product for us that we felt comfortable with. We were looking for something more discreet, something more consistent, something pure and reliable. And so we just took this one step, and all of a sudden we realized, you know what, if there's not something out there that we're comfortable with, let's try to make it ourselves. And that's sort of the beginning of Hello Again and how it got started.
That's wonderful. I mean, Patty's right. I'm Carrie Mapes, and I'm almost 52 years old. And Patty's right. The answers that the bud tenders were giving us when we were asking, what does this do? What does this do? What does this do? Overlapped completely with our symptoms and the symptoms of our friends. This helps with anxiety. This helps with sleep. This helps calming. This helps with memory fog and focus. This helps with, you know, regulating your body's systems. So cannabis really is uniquely suited to address the symptoms of, we say, kind of menopause in general. But Mari, to your point, when people talk about menopause and think about what, you know, the stereotypical experience of menopause, I think a lot of really what that is perimenopause. Mm-hmm. And women often don't realize that they're in it when they're in it, because menopause, medically speaking, is when you've had no period for a year. But the running head start toward menopause is called perimenopause, and it can last, for some lucky people, a month and a half, 2 months with no symptoms. For a lot of people, it lasts for 4-5 years. Yeah. And for some people, it lasts for much longer than that, and the symptoms can be very severe. So, and you know, you were talking earlier about the different levels of estrogen and progesterone and all those things. For Patty and me, the graph that explained it the best was throughout your life, before any of this starts, like when you're just kind of a mature woman, the graphs of your hormones look like a heartbeat, like a cardiogram. You know, some are going up and some are going down, but the whole thing has this rhythm that looks very much like a heartbeat. Then in perimenopause, it looks like a plate of spaghetti. Things are like all of your different lines of all your different hormones are just kind of randomly high and low and over. And then after menopause, it's just straight lines. So perimenopause really is the time when you're kind of it's the most volatile hormonal time. And yet you don't really understand that you're in it because your period hasn't stopped and you're young and you feel young. And what often happens for a lot of women, I know it did for me, is the symptoms just start subtly and then they kind of layer on top of each other. And you don't really realize that it's all happening until time has passed and you've had this collective experience of different things layering on top of each other. And then all of a sudden you just don't feel like yourself anymore and you don't feel healthy anymore. And, that's part of our mission. Patty and I talk about this all the time is, to bring this product to women who need it, but also to help women understand what their bodies are going through. They really are going through a time that's much like the crazy hormones of adolescence, just in a different way and at a different time in your life. Patty's right. I mean, this is when you have responsibilities and
and it's a pretty vibrant time in life right now. There's a statistic out there where we're the first generation of women at 50 who have 50 good years left to live. We're going to live a long life. And there's women in our age range that are getting back into the workforce for the first time, like Carrie and I. There's women who have small children still at our age. There's women who are maybe getting divorced and going out into the dating game. So it's not something that you can just kind of close your door and go through the symptoms and manage them. I mean, you have to, it's a vibrant sort of you're out in the world and you need some relief and you need to feel like yourself again, which is how we came up with the name of the product. But, you can't just stay home and suffer through the symptoms, and you shouldn't have to.
So how can you describe your product to us and how you found that the vaginal suppositories are helpful in perimenopause?
So when we decided we were going to try to come up with a product to help address the symptoms, we explored a lot of different options. We tried some edibles, we've tried, some vapes, we tried topicals, we tried different things. And the one thing I think, Carrie, I don't know if you agree, but the inconsistency of those products, what would affect Carrie one way would affect me another way, or maybe one day would affect me one way, or if I, had more to eat the next day, it would affect me a different way. So that was off the table because it had to be something that was consistent. And the vaginal suppository offers that sort of delivery system. It's consistent from maybe a slight variation in your internal body temperature would be the only thing to affect it from person to person, but the consistency and the discretion, I could be using it right now and you would have no idea. So that was important too. So discretion, consistency led us right to the vaginal suppository.
Well, and also we knew that this product needed you to, women wanted to feel healthy, not high. There are a lot of recreational high products out there. We did not, that's not our product. We knew that we wanted this to be a product that you could use in the morning and go out into the world and to the work day or drive or, all of the things that you need, get on with the business of your life. So the vaginal delivery system allows for us to utilize THC without the psychoactive high because of the way your body takes in the THC through the vaginal mucosa, and also because it bypasses your digestive system and most importantly your liver, because it's in your liver that THC becomes even more psychoactive. So so that really, once we kind of targeted this as the best delivery system, we then realized, oh my gosh, another symptom of menopause is vaginal dryness. And, we didn't invent vaginal suppositories. They've been used for years to deliver medicine in some situations and also to address vaginal dryness. So, our product is a lot of cocoa butter. And then we've also added avocado oil and vitamin E. All of those are nourishing and, replenish the moisture there. And also some apple cider vinegar so that, the pH balance, your vagina is slightly acidic. And so we are addressing that, and it has some antimicrobial elements as well. So the vaginal suppository really allows for a 1-2 punch because we also have cannabinoid receptors.
That's right.
In our female reproductive tract. So a lot, actually, second only to the brain. So the uterus has them, the fallopian tubes, the ovaries, the vaginal mucosa. So that allows for the cannabinoids in the THC and the CBDs to meet your receptors, and you get a pretty quick, immediate response. But then also the blood vessels and the capillaries take in everything as well into your bloodstream, but at a much different rate, at a much different level than as we spoke of, than if it was going through your digestive tract. So, or certainly smoking. So we believe that the uptake into your blood system kind of elongates the effects. So you don't have to take one, every hour. You can take one in the morning, and that really bridges you throughout the day. So in fact, you could take one at the day, one at night, one day, one night for daily use. Or I know the way I use it is semi-regularly, because I find that using one every 3 days, whether it's a daytime or a nighttime, keeps my systems on top of it. And I don't, break out into hot flashes like I used to. But I also use it proactively. For example, on a day like today, when I want to be able to find my words and have energy and, lift the mental fog and be my best or feel my best, I'll use one in the morning.
Well, and for Hello Again, we have two formulations. So there's a Hello Again day and Hello Again night. So the nighttime one has a little bit more THC to help you sleep through the night. So that's what the day and night, it's two different formulas, but the nighttime one for me is key, because if you can get a good night's sleep, you can pretty much do anything the next day.
It's so important.
It brought me to my knees, lack of sleep. It was bad for 10 years. I just couldn't sleep.
That is a hugely important point, because when we're talking about self-care, if you're not sleeping, everything else goes out the window.
Yeah,
and it's so important. And that's one of the great things about THC that can be so helpful, is for people to sleep. And I love this description. I don't know if you guys know this book, Cannabis and CBD for Health and Wellness. This was written by our fabulous Eliza Sherman, who's co-founder of Ellementa. And in it, and it has a wealth of information and really well written and easy to understand. And there's a paragraph that describes insertion methods of utilization of cannabis. And I'm just going to read a paragraph. It says, vaginal suppositories dissolve and absorb to provide pain relief and promote body relaxation without mind-altering effects. Vaginal suppositories can be used in relieving pain and inflammation throughout the reproductive system, including the uterus, and for reducing menstrual cramps and pelvic pain for conditions such as polycystic ovarian syndrome. THC and okay, so that's one of the reasons why these can be used not even for perimenopause, but for also for PMS and other, Do you have something?
Yeah, no, we're really finding, this was a product that was conceptualized because of menopause, and it was formulated for menopause. But now we're finding it's helping women of all ages. It's helping girls with their menstrual cramps. It's helping women well past menopause with vaginal dryness and sleep and other issues. It helps a lot with anything that's inflammation related. It helps with. So I know for me, all of a sudden I use my hands all the time. I pain. I'm an artist. Like my thumb hurts a lot. Nope, doesn't hurt anymore. My nighttime restless legs have calmed down. There's so many kind of aches and pains that we all have because that are related to inflammation. Yes. So when you use the product, you have this great sense of well-being, because all of these little pesky things that you've been feeling or ignoring or whatever due to inflammation are also being addressed.
Inflammation is huge. It's part of what causes a lot of these symptoms. I imagine it could also be really good for headaches. People experience a lot of headaches with hormonal imbalancing as well. And cannabis has shown to be helpful with that. So do you have experiences that other people that you've been working with, your friends and family, that they have taught you about that it's been helping them throughout this time in their lives?
Well, we have 4 college age girls between us, Carrie and I. So they can, like she said, that helps with menstrual cramps, any inflammation, maybe a hangover here or there. It does help with that. I've had a response back from somebody a woman who's in her 70s, right? You know, it's awakening. This was, you know, something we hadn't heard, but now we're starting to realize with cannabis is another effect, but awakening sexual desires that she hasn't had for over 20 years. And she's not sure what to do with it, but she's going to work on it. So
Yeah.
there, you know, we've definitely gotten, you know, a lot that we expected and then some that we hadn't expected. And that's been really great for Carrie and I, because, you know, it just broadens the whole wellness feeling for women.
Oh man, that's the most fun of all. We have some female bud tenders at the dispensaries have tried them, and you know, one said that she was plagued with menstrual cramps that really very severe, and she said, nope, gone. Not only gone that day, but gone for 2 days. Just fine. So that this is the most fun part, is hearing how it's helping people. It's great.
That is so wonderful. Yes, because, you know, there's so many different symptoms. I have a list here that we could go through, which is like hot flashes, breast tenderness, worse PMS, lower sex drive, fatigue, irregular periods, vaginal dryness, discomfort during sex, urinary leakage, mood swings, and trouble sleeping. And this list, so many of these things are really eased and helped by not only all different kinds of herbs that we have available to us, and minerals, but by cannabis. So it's really exciting.
I'd like to say that cannabis is just cannabis is one plant in our product, and it is kind of the front man rock star plant in our product, but there's a whole band, and you know, the synergy and the magic happens when the whole band is playing together. And you know, Patty and I we did a lot of research on herbal supplements that we wanted to include, and our initial list was really long. You know, herbs,
you can only get so much into
the
suppository. We didn't want to make it this big.
Less is more, though, sometimes.
Less is more sometimes, exactly. And when we got to the formulation stage, and we have terrific formulation and manufacturing partners with our product, but when we got to the formulation stage, we simplified that list quite a bit. We removed anything that was a phytoestrogen. You know, black cohosh would be, you know, really an obvious choice for temperature regulation, but we eliminated that from our target list, and instead we're using hops for temperature regulation. But it's really the synergy of the THC and the CBD isolates that we're using with the terpenes and other plant phytonutrients that are in all of the herbal supplements that allow us to kind of direct the band when it's playing, and direct it toward the sleep and the memory fog and the mood swings and the body temperature regulation, etc.
And most have been used for thousands of years. I mean, this is the same, you know, same ingredients like neroli oil, chamomile, lavender, melatonin, things like that go into the nighttime one to help promote sleep. And same as day, there's some in daytime, like green tree extract to give you just a little focus. Schisandra, there's rose geranium for emotional stability. So these are all things that have been being used for a long time.
I love rose geranium. That's one of my very favorite oils. So that's brilliant, to have just a little bit of those herbs that help to nourish and balance at the same time, is really important. So I wonder, you know, we have in California, we're lucky to have dispensaries that we can sell legally in and purchase legally. It's very important to understand for women the reason why to buy through the legal dispensaries. And one of those reasons is because of the quality. You're really ensuring quality and purity. If it's sold in a dispensary, it has to be pure. It has to not have pesticides and heavy metals, and God only knows what else people spray on the plants when they're making it. So to be able to get your product into the legal market and through the shops in California, the legal shops, is really something that is quite amazing, and well done, ladies. And yeah, because it was not an easy path, I'm sure. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, we had no idea when we started, and it was interesting because it's too bad that the rest of our food and herbal supplement market can't raise their standards to the cannabis standards, because they're so, I would just recommend, even if you're going to buy a CBD only product, to buy it in a dispensary, because you'll know that what's on the box is what's in the box. And that's not the case if you go to Whole Foods or some other store and buy any other product. Carrie makes fun of me because I have it in for the tea bag, but the tea bag has a lot of things in it that we shouldn't have, a lot of plastics and stuff, and it's crazy, and we don't think twice about it.
Those tea bags.
As I drink my tea bag.
Tea bags. But you know, so we're proud of that it's in a dispensary, because it's you know, of excellent quality. We know what's in it. It's pure. It was a little tricky getting through all that testing product, but we figured it out thanks to our manufacturing partners. I know they're listening now, so props to them. And yeah, so we're proud of it.
Yeah, and you mentioned legal dispensaries versus, you know, unregulated dispensaries, and you know, you have to buy at a legal dispensary. I mean, it's just, if you hear the stories about, you know, brands that perhaps dump their product that didn't pass testing at an illegal dispensary, you know, you have to protect yourself by shopping at regulated dispensaries, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and there's a good reason. There's a good reason. Cannabis products are not inexpensive, and there's a good reason for that. There's a lot of taxation on it, and it's a very expensive product to produce, and there's a lot of regulation. But it's all for good reason. It's all for the benefit of the consumer and the safety of the consumer and the safety of the community. So, you know, that's part of the package right now.
It is. It's hard to see past the price tag at the end when they ring you up and there's all these huge taxes on it, but it does, it's for the benefit of the people in the community. So it's important to remember that.
Yeah. And also, for people who haven't been to a dispensary or new to this, you know, some dispensaries bake the taxes into the retail price and then only charge you sales tax at the cashier when you're leaving. And they're really trying to kind of replicate the normal retail experience that we're all used to. Other dispensaries list the price at the retail and then add on all the taxes at the register. So there can be a little bit of sticker shock sometimes too. So the same product can really vary in pricing from dispensary to dispensary, and also from delivery service to delivery service. And the answer to that is usually how they bake in the taxes.
Thank you for that info. It's good to know. We all love taxes. I'm circling back to self-care, because self-care and perimenopause, I think this is really what it comes down to, is really focusing on our self-care. And we've been taking care of so many things and for so long, I think we forget about ourselves and how to focus on ourselves. But Aliza in her book has a great passage here, and it says, if you've looked closely at self-care as a route to better health and well-being, you may have heard that there are 3 critical pillars of self-care, which are 1, sleep, fitness, and nutrition. Getting a good night's sleep, adding more movement into your day, and eating right can fortify your body and brain to handle life's stressors. Sleep is critical. Without it, all of our aspects of your life can be affected. If cannabis can help you get a better night's sleep, that alone could greatly improve your ability to cope with stressors and find the motivation to get more exercise and improve your eating habits.
Well, amen.
Yeah, right?
Amen. It's a little hard during quarantine, but we're trying, right? I mean, it gets a little tricky when donuts seem really great thing to eat at 10 o'clock at night, and pancakes and...
You know, I can say one thing about self-care just from my own experience, because I think probably a lot of people could relate to it. If my kid were complaining about certain things or had these symptoms that kept adding up, I would have taken notes. I would have called the doctor. I would have been on it. Like they would have, you know, gotten the care that they needed. But often women don't do that when it's themselves. And, you know, and that's why, for me at least, all the symptoms of perimenopause kind of went on for quite some time until they really got unbearable. So, you know, put on your own oxygen mask first.
I know, that's my favorite thing you say. And that really hit home to me, because it's true, as a caregiver, usually, or in life as friends and family or whatever, when Carrie said that one time, and it made it a perfect visual, because if you don't put your own oxygen mask on first, you're going to pass out, and everyone in your family or whoever you're with is going to, perish. But if you take care of yourself and you get your oxygen, then you have the ability to take care of everybody. So that makes it seem like a less selfish thing, or whatever the problem is that we think about when we think about taking care of ourselves first. But that was a great image that Carrie said to me once a long time ago, and it really stuck.
Another thing that you and I have talked about, Patty, is just kind of the poetry at this phase of your life, as your fertility is coming to an end. This has been shared space for quite some time, probably since late puberty. This has been shared space in one way or another. And now your fertility is coming to an end, and you can take this space back and utilize it for your wellness. Like, actually use this space to promote your own wellness, which I just love that whole vision and story, and the elegance of that, I think, is really compelling. It's possible that we've lost Mari.
No, we're gonna have to fly by ourselves.
I'm gonna come back online just to pretend.
I mean, it was compelling, but not that compelling.
This is an Ellementa trick. Then we just disappear.
So I'm going to bring in some questions right now while we're waiting for Mari to come back on board. So Lee asks, and actually Samantha asks a similar question, and if you could just elaborate on, again, sort of the frequency of having to take it. So Lee was asking, does it need to be used every single day, or just when your symptoms flare up?
I think you could use it either way. It's up to you. I use it quite often, day to night. Carrie might use it as symptoms flare up, or just as a maintenance program. So it's really a personal preference. And I saw another question on there, how many come to a box? There's 8 suppositories in a box. So it's sort of a week's worth plus, an extra. And so it's just a personal preference on how it helps you and how you need to use it.
And we're assuming that, a lot, this is elemental women. So most people probably understand how the cannabinoid system works. But when you understand that it's the system in your body that regulates the systems and keeps everything in balance and equilibrium, then you can kind of understand how to best use the product for you. Your body might need you to use it every day, one in the day and one in the night. And my body tends to kind of, once it gets calibrated and balanced, stay that way for a couple of days. Then I ride the wave until either I have to come speak to all of you and want to, make sure I'm on my game and I use one proactively, or I haven't had one in a few days and I just make sure I do.
And I had a question, because I did confess before we got started today that I'm just not that familiar with vaginal suppositories. I think I may have used them one single time, and I found them to be very messy. So when you say that you can use them during the day, any tips? Is it messy? Do you need to wear a panty liner? Like, what do you suggest for daytime use?
I mean, I think, again, it varies from person to person. I can't count the number of them that I've used every once in a while. And I don't know if it just means my internal body temperature at that time was higher, but I would use a panty liner. Sometimes you could use a tampon also if leakage is an issue, but it's almost person to person with leakage. I feel like it's not, a vaginal suppository necessarily. And then of course you could store them in the refrigerator first before you put it in. You could lie down for 10 minutes after you put it in. Things like that help a lot, and depending on your body and the shape of what's going on in there, it's different for everybody. So there's little things you can do, like a panty liner, or tampon, or lying down, or refrigerating them is probably helpful too.
But the bottom line is everyone is shaped a little bit differently. Right. And
Yeah. So another question came up, and it was specific to comparing your product to a different brand. There is a brand called Foria that's been out there for quite a while. They have CBD only suppositories, vaginal suppositories. They have THC ones as well. I mean, not to really pit you against a different brand, but how would you say that your product differs from what's out there on the market?
I think Foria is great, and they've done a really great job of they have their first brand, I believe, was a lubricant, and they have a great, very strong pain application for one of their suppositories. So it has much more THC in it than ours does, and it doesn't have the herbal supplements. So I would say the biggest difference is that ours is formulated for you to use and then get on with the business of your day versus pain relief at the end of your day.
Very good
Yeah.
point and differentiation.
Yeah.
We've got Mari here. I do want to throw in one last question. Do you continue to take it once you're in full menopause? And this is a great question too, because I'm 55, so I am full on. I started my menopause very early after I gave birth at 41.
Yeah.
So I always wonder about aftercare, if you will.
Yeah.
Like, for the rest of my life, what am I going to be doing to take care of myself?
Well, we touched on it a little bit earlier. I mean, we're finding out that just because it's a great anti-inflammatory and because it helps you sleep, you know, I would say those two things, and the memory fog also, I would say those three things continue after menopause. Vaginal dryness actually isn't as related to the hormone changes as it is to aging. And I hate to be the messenger of the cold hard truth, but vaginal dryness is kind of a product of loss of collagen. And we all know about that, you know, as you age. And the tissues down there also lose collagen. And it's a function of a loss of muscle tissue, which we all know about that. And that happens down there as well. And those two things just cause this kind of flattening of things, of, you know, your vagina, the inside of your vagina, and it impedes how well it can work as it has in the past to keep yourself moist and, you know, do everything it's supposed to do. So vaginal dryness really can last for the rest of your life for those reasons. And certainly a suppository is what would be prescribed, whether it was this suppository or a different one. There are lots of them out there just that address dryness, and some are actually prescription. But certainly that would be a great application for our product well beyond menopause. That, sleep, inflammation, mood, you know, all of those things continue for different reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there were some questions about, you know, can I get this in New York? Can I get this in North Carolina? And I was answering them. And so anyone who wants to know, but also just saying it out loud, that your products are THC based, only available in California, starting to roll out into dispensaries in where? LA, Orange County, and Santa Barbara so far?
Right now, Santa Barbara, LA, Orange County.
Okay. And so from a legal standpoint, they cannot be shipped.
No.
They should not be carried with you across state lines. Also, there are other products that are state specific, and there are CBD suppositories with minimal THC, so they are legal to be shipped. That can be shipped anywhere in the United States. Keep in mind, if you're tuning in from Canada, you need to purchase a Canadian-based product, because CBD cannot be sent from Canada to the US or the US to Canada. Do you happen to have any favorite CBD only? Because that would not be a direct competitor to you for people in other states. Do you happen to have a recommendation by chance?
Gosh, that's a good question. It's not something we've really thought about. We've been so California focused right now.
Yeah. Well, I actually put in the Foria Wellness one as something that can be shipped. There are a lot of other really good products. We do review them. I've yet to review a vaginal suppository. Here in Colorado, Incredible makes a vaginal suppository with THC. It's a little bit difficult when you're trying to market a THC product nationwide.
Right.
So let me just see, we had Mari for a moment and she disappeared again. Could you go back to the ingredients again and tell us a little more about the herbs and the terpenes? You mentioned terpenes. I heard you say lavender, so that would be sort of linalool is the terpene. Right. But could you go back a little and talk about that? And Mari's back, so I'm going to pop back into the background, but but Mari, if you happen to disappear again, I'll just pop right back in.
Okay, thank you. My internet is going in and out, which is a problem with the apocalypse right now. So bear with me.
No worries.
I have no idea where we're at.
No worries.
It's okay. Well, Mari, actually, I'm glad you're back, because you're the herbalist, and you know, in a very general way, that, you know, we were talking about how we're supplying certain terpenes through these the herbal supplements that we've added into our product. But you could probably speak more to the specific terpenes of each of those, since I don't have those notes in front of me. But, we have in our nighttime, for example, we've got lavender, and we've got melatonin in the nighttime, and we've got lavender. Actually, I could hold up my little night box right here so you see what it looks like. Hello again.
Beautiful.
So hops is in there as well. Chamomile. We use Cape chamomile and Roman chamomile, actually both of them in the nighttime product. As to which specific terpenes those provide, I'm sorry, I don't have those notes in front of me. I have pages and pages of them somewhere. But I know that's your expertise, Maury.
There's also valerian root in the nighttime.
Yeah.
Those are all wonderful sedative herbs. I'm drinking sleepy time tea right now because it has those same herbs in there for calming. And
right.
And that's wonderful because it's important that we have the synergy of the different terpenes, and like terpenes, like what's in the lavender, are some of the same terpenes that are in the THC as well. So are you adding terpenoids back in, or are we talking about the terpenes that are present in the actual other herbs that are in there? Are these?
We're using they're steam distilled extracts from the plants themselves.
From the plants. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's a great carrier. So what's interesting too is going back, I have this wonderful list from Christiane Northrup, because she's just phenomenal, and I just recommend that everybody check her out. She's so positive. And what she wanted all of us to remember is that perimenopause it's not all bad. There's actually some really amazing things that happen to women during it, and I wanted to go through this list. She explains that this is a profound developmental stage accompanied by, and this is the good news, surges in creativity, a newfound ambition and vitality. The soul needs to be of service. Behavior becomes motivated not by the demands of life, but of who you really are. This is really interesting. Okay, so behavior becomes motivated by the demands of your soul and not society's rules. And interestingly, the unfinished business of your past arises and comes up for resolution. It's like the 8th grade with skills, is when she said that. This is an opportunity to free yourself from outmoded beliefs and behaviors. And this is not a huge health problem. This is a time for self-exploration and for self-care, and to really dive deep into who you are. So I wanted to make sure that I got that in before my internet, was put.
I mean, that is so beautiful. That is so well put. And why shouldn't we feel really good while we're having all those things happen? I think typically we're sort of beaten down at this time that we're supposed to be rising up. So
right. And look how you gals have taken this time to create this beautiful business and this new time in your life to be entrepreneurs. And this is a magical time for you as well. So you're embodying that.
It has been.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. It's been an absolute joy to be doing this. We believe in the product and in our mission and in helping women, and we love working together. We love being a part of the cannabis industry when this industry is brand new and really defining itself. And just the challenge that it faced. We learn 10 new things every day, and that is just so exciting. It really is. It's invigorating, and this time of life is great. I mean, I love how you don't let what you said, the outside world dictate how you spend your time. All of a sudden, no is a really easy thing to say. And I don't know.
Even more so now, I think. Even more so now, what everybody's going through. You really can define what you want to do and what you have the energy for.
Mm-hmm. And Patty and I have talked about this before. I'm not sure we could have done this when we were 20. Right. If we'd have had this idea or something similar, maybe it wasn't menopause, whatever, and set out to do it, I wasn't confident enough I didn't have the life experience. I didn't have just kind of the, you know, the compass within myself. I didn't have the judgment. I cared too much what people thought, whatever, all of those things. But to be doing it as a 50-year-old, I feel like it's perfect. This is the right time. And I really, what you read really resonated with me as well.
Bravo. That's fantastic.
Ladies, we have a couple of more questions here. If we could get
Sure.
these two. One is, can Mari speak about the minerals that she said were important during menopause? And the other one is a little more practical. Do you anticipate shipping or delivery within California? Those are two separate questions, obviously. Answer in whatever order you'd like.
Well, let's start with the minerals. Minerals are so important. I was trained by a world-renowned herbalist called Susan Weed. And when I studied with her, she made us eat plants, wild plants. We learned the edible plants that were full of minerals and full of nutrition. And the one that she most encouraged was nettles. Stinging nettles are full of calcium and magnesium and iron, and in a really easily bioavailable form for the body. So you can order nettles online. I buy them in bulk. Hard to get herbs in bulk right now, but when all this stuff calms down, you'll be able to order bulk herbs, and you make a nettle infusion every night, which is half a cup of herbs to a jar of boiling water, and you put the herbs in and you put the boiling water over at night, and when you wake up, you have a really strongly steeped tea infusion, which is mineral rich. And drinking that along with oat straw and raspberry leaf and red clover blossoms is also incredibly full of minerals. All of these are really easy ways and inexpensive ways to get the minerals into your body by drinking nourishing herbal infusions. Also eating your veggies, your rainbow of colors for your flavonoids, all of that balanced nutrition, eating whole foods. Sprouts are a great way to get minerals, and really inexpensive. Also, we've been growing sprouts because it's kind of hard to get vegetables right now on a daily basis. So those are some easy ways to find minerals. And then there's always supplements. I like whole food supplements are the best for absorption. And then as far as, let's go to the next question, which was how do people get your product?
Yeah, so all three of the dispensaries that we're in Orange County, Santa Barbara, and Los Angeles. It's the Pottery in Los Angeles, the Pharmacy in Santa Barbara, and Bud and Bloom in Orange County. All three of them have delivery services. We're also about to add an additional delivery service in Los Angeles, and we're pursuing delivery options in Northern California as well. So we hope to have more announcements on that soon. And if you'd like to stay in touch with what's going on and where future places will be available, please go to our website. It's helloagainproducts.com, and we'd love for you to enter your email address, and we'll send out information about the product as it develops, as well as a tidbit here and there that's just interesting stuff for women our age in this phase of life. But we'd love for you to visit there.
For those of you that don't live in California, your options are to move to California. No, just kidding, because we love it here. But it's time to be an activist. Talk to your government and say we need this medicine in our state, and make phone calls and write letters. And there's a great surge and momentum happening now with cannabis medicine. It's just a matter of time that it will be in your state. But there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and so this is a great opportunity to use your voice and your woman power to help get the medicine to you.
Well, it's a moment. I mean, cannabis industry was deemed an essential industry.
Deemed essential. That's right.
So, that's got to move the needle a little bit. And, as far as Hello Again is concerned, we're also working to coming to different states as well. So
great.
Hopefully good news on that soon.
Great. Are there any other questions out there?
I think we've covered the ones that have come through the chat already, and just Just looking to see if there were some others that I had. Da, 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 da. Oh, one of you had mentioned young women who have painful periods, etc. You're finding that they're benefiting. What is the age? Is it 18 or 21? 21?
21. You have to be 21 to buy the product.
21 to legally.
Yeah.
But what if you were a younger woman under 21? Does California still have any kind of medical card for younger people who need the medicine?
I don't know. I would imagine
question.
if you had a prescription, you would be able to do that. But I don't know about the age limit. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. Patty and I heard this amazing girl, and I'm so sorry I can't remember her name right now, but perhaps I can get it to Ellementa Women. So if anyone who wants to read more about her, but she used cannabis with her cancer, and she's lobbying and doing all kinds of work for children to have access to the plant for medical treatment. She's incredible, and I'm just so sorry I can't remember her name right now. That
I think for seizures, I mean, that's definitely been an application for cannabis for people with seizures. It's been a big relief.
Right. Also, somebody just had a comment that it was so helpful to understand the stage of her life better, and thanks for addressing this topic of perimenopause. She's not finding many people helping women her age in 40s. And I just wanted to put in a quick plug for Ellementa. We started this company because we felt there wasn't a lot of cannabis or CBD information for women 35 plus. And we also find that, just as you have, Patty and Carrie, that women in their 20s are also benefiting from cannabis and CBD for everything from PMS cramps to endometriosis, etc. And so that was our whole reason for starting this company, is that we were in our 40s and I was in my early 50s, and we just said there's not enough information out there specific to women. And one of the things that my co-author, Mari, thanks for mentioning our book several times, that was very sweet. But one of the things my co-author, Dr. June Chin, has said is there is a very distinct estrogen connection with cannabis. And she's done a webinar with us as well. So understanding that women experience and benefit from cannabis in different ways than men, simply because of our hormones, is really important as well. So
and that female plant too. I mean, there's something
well, exactly,
something beautiful about that too.
That's right. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for all of your hard work, and especially the Ellementa team and Aliza for putting this all together and creating this wonderful platform that we can come together. And I am so grateful to have had my first Zoom, Facebook.
Us too. Thank you.
You did it.
Woo, high five.
Exactly.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And it was such a pleasure. And I'm really looking forward to having many more conversations. There's just a plethora of topics that I would love to dive into, and incredible speakers and really knowledgeable people. So looking forward to that. Stay tuned and keep in touch with us. You're welcome to get a hold of me if you'd like to email me at marioxenberg@gmail.com. If you have any questions in any way that I can help you, I'm available. And anything else, gals?
Well, how can we find you again, Patty and Carrie?
Please, you can contact us through our website, helloagainproducts.com.
Perfect. And if you all are interested in more sessions like this, I have geese in the background in case anybody heard that. Then check out ellementa.com/events. That's ELLEMENTA.com/events. And we have more experts and authors coming on board every Wednesday and Sunday right now while we're all in our homes. So good luck to everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You guys were fantastic. Thank you. We love being here. Thanks.
That was wonderful. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Over and out.